Central Asia has been attracting adventurers since the times of Marco Polo. In their notes, medieval mavericks filled this semi-mythical area at the world's end with fantastic creatures and unprecedented miracles and riddles. To this day, this mysterious region attracts Western tourists with its landscapes and biological diversity. Together with the Outdoor KZ TV expedition, you will travel to the most picturesque corners of Central Asia, get acquainted with its flora and fauna, and immerse yourselves in the everyday life and traditions of the people living in the wild. Where can one encounter the basilisk from the Harry Potter movie? How painful is the copperhead's bite? Who and why looked for entomologist Aidana Tazbulatova in the fairy tale woods? How to get to the top of Zholbaris Shoki? How the Osmans force waterfalls? What is the Argali meeting point? When do tulips break blossoming? Answers to these and many more questions in this episode. Stay tuned. What is really impressive about Kazakhstan's landscapes is the contrast. A couple of days ago, our filming crew walked waist deep in snow in the northern Tian Shan, and now we are in the foothills of the western Tian Shan, where they have been wearing light clothes, farmers have started their planting season, and apple and cherry orchards have been in full bloom for quite some time. It's a hot season for researchers, as reserves, national parks and hunting farms have just launched their spring animal counts. Galimjan Jenizbekuli, head of Sayramogam National Park's Science Department, and Yesken Orakbayev, heading the park's Animal Reproduction Department, are also finishing up their preparations, getting some foodstuffs, and off they go. From the settlement of Tulku-Bas, the expedition turns to the small Karatau Mountains, in the valleys of which farmers grow grain and garden crops. Apple orchards nestle in the foothills and pistachio forests start higher up into the mountains. They distinguish wild and cultivated pistachio types. For many years, the park's science department has been working on acclimatizing most productive species of cultivated pistachios. The trees grow alternating with wild cherry plums or alicha in Kazakhstan. In the fall, cherry plum trees get covered with sweet and sour fruits, a great raw product for delicious jams. Wild cherry plum is the ancestor of all species of domesticated plum and represents a valuable genetic gardening material. Crop breeders manage to get highly productive hybrids of cherry plum and apricot. This is our monitoring site where our employee had spent 5 to 7 days. The referred to employee is entomologist Aidana Tazbulatova. She had left to the mountains a week earlier. At the cordon, Inspector Islam Mirzayev and Game Manager Mehrbek Akhmetov greet the expedition. Nature inspection service is somewhat similar to military service. Operational situation must be reported in a proper manner. Where is Aidana approximately? Now she should be on Bostorgai mountain. Her tent is located on Bostorgai. She has probably went up to Zholbaris summit to have a look at the Argali. If you see any Argali nearby, keep in mind that a group of journalists came to film them. They want to make a movie about them. Now we are on the premises of Kokbulak Especially Protected Zone. It will be really hard to encounter Argali at this time of the year. Males and females are already separated after the mating season and graze in different places. However, there are special places where animals come to treat themselves to delicious salt. This is your best chance to get them on camera. Perhaps Aidana already succeeded. What is the best stop to see them from? Will we be able to locate Aidana now? Her tent is in the 13th zone. I saw it there yesterday evening. She might have gone up already. Where did you see the Argali recently? Approximately in the 22nd zone, near Zholbaris mountain. We have special horses which, under the condition that you know how to ride a horse, can be used to cover at least part of the way. Further on, we will still have to go on foot. To see the Argali, you need to understand the nature and know the animal's habits. Now females and males graze separately, so it can be truly daunting to search for them in the highlands where you cannot always go on horseback. Many kilometers to walk. With the gods' help, we'll have a bite and then we'll head to the Zholbaris Shoki gorge, where Aidana, an employee of the park's science department, has been working for several days. We'll locate Aidana and consult with her as to where to look for the mysterious Karatau Argali. The whole mounted squadron moves off in search of Aidana. Finding her is by far not easy. Yesterday Islam saw her camp on the riverbank, but today she could have already moved to a different place. The expedition zoologists can't wait meeting her and learning what animals got caught in photo traps. Aidana's task was exactly to replace the USB drives in the video recorders installed across the monitoring site. During expeditions, scientists do their best to collect as much data as possible about all types of animals, but naturally, each of them has his or her specialization. Aidana is an entomologist, so she mainly focuses on over 350 insect species registered in the park. Every year, the park's collections expand with new information about invertebrates. As a discipline, entomology started in the late 18th century, but the early studies didn't go beyond species systematizing and classification. In the early 20th century, with the development of environmental science, people comprehended that a species' value is not predetermined by its physical size. Each and every little beetle is as important for the planet's biosphere as an elephant or a whale. All flora and fauna species need to maintain their gene pools. In 2003, the Red List of Kazakhstan included 85 invertebrates. People, of course, don't hunt insects, but at times, anthropogenic economic activities violate the natural balance of steppe and mountain ecosystems and thereby put multiple species on the verge of extinction. This is exactly the reason why it is necessary to control these changes by studying insects. Here is Aidana's tent. We got really lucky. She didn't change the camp's location today and is probably somewhere close. She was here but left not so long ago. The team of skilled pathfinders is looking for our entomologist. Footprints go down to the river. But what is she doing there? It turns out Aidana is fishing. Osmans and Marincas, or Schizothorax intermedius, inhabit small mountain rivers and streams of the Karatau. The former is a close relative of Marinca listed in the National Red Book, which does not live in the Karatau Mountains. The catch is small, but the fish should be delicious. Perhaps one fish would be enough for Aidana's dinner, but according to the law of mountain hospitality, whatever prey should be shared with guests. Aidana shows us a simple and rather practical way of cooking a Marinka delicacy in 5 minutes. Attention! A masterclass. Today we will have sushi Karatao style. All we need are a newspaper, a pinch of salt, some wild onions, hot coals and the truly mountain appetite. Judging by the smell, we are on the right track. 3 minutes have passed and it's time to try it out. Yummy! It's a delicacy indeed. It's good, but it's too little, so Yesken suggests another masterclass, catching Marinka barehanded. To do this, we need to find a stream falling into the river with washed-out depressions in the riverbank. The fish usually hide in these niches, and theoretically, we can get lucky. "10 minutes were enough to conclude that fishing theory and practice are totally different things. It's easy to read about it on the internet, but life is tough. The small fish do hide under the stones, but they are really slippery and the fish are really brisk. Yet, as they say, negative result is also a result. We didn't catch any fish but got a great opportunity of filming Marinka forcing the water going in the opposite direction of the stream. Foreign movies about nature often show how salmon go up the river, force barriers and jump over waterfalls. In Kazakhstan, we don't have any migrating salmon and therefore very few people have seen this phenomena with their own eyes. Yesken Orakbayev is definitely not happy about it and suggests filming how our Marinka does the same. At first the idea seems impossible, but we still follow Yesken, maintaining a reasonable degree of skepticism. Just imagine how surprised we were when Yesken really brought us to the waterfall with jumping Marinkas. Marinkas begin spawning based on water temperature. As soon as it gets warm to the romantic 7 degrees, Marinkas plunge in their mating season. They amicably go to the mountain river upper streams to spawn, and the higher up they get, the higher the percentage of survival among the offspring. Each female can lay up to 10,000 eggs, out of which no more than 10% will survive. To overcome the falls and get a chance to reproduce, you have to be a rather strong individual. Only the strongest will survive. This is the cruel wisdom of the nature. As we know from school, evolution has 2 tools: sexual and natural selection. Weak fish perish, and strong ones leave their posterity and transfer the qualities that help them to survive to future generations. Jumping over barriers is certainly a quality useful for this fish survival. Whereas in small mountain rivers, Marinka grows only up to 20 centimeters long and can weigh 600 to 700 grams, in lakes and large rivers, it can grow up to 4 kilograms. Aidana is an entomologist but not a magician, and thus failed to feed 6 men with just 1 fish. We had to continue our dinner in the camp. Stewed meat and canned fish cannot compare to freshly caught and cooked Marinka, but it will suffice in field conditions. After food, Aidana shares today's photo catch with her colleagues and took a couple of pictures yesterday. Where? Close to Zholbaris Shoki peak. Kazakhstan once had a rather strong zoological school, but in the 90s of the last century, due to systemic crisis, the youth would more willingly go into finances and law. The good news, though, is that today, once again, there are more and more young people ready to devote their lives to the selfless service of domestic nature.
We
met Aidana Tazbulatova, a young entomologist from the National Park's Science Department, in the foothills of Zholbaris Shoki peak. She's studying insects and collects scientific herbariums. Yesterday she saw a group of 5 argali on the opposite slope. Aidana thinks it would be good to go up there and install our hide there. The argali are active at sunrise and sunset, and it isn't easy to see them during daytime. Also, Aidana checked the photo traps and found out that they caught a porcupine and a couple of argali. The Karatau subspecies of argali is one of the most rare in Central Asia. Only 470 individual animals currently live in the world. In order to effectively manage rare animals' populations, we need to know as much as possible about their ecology, herd structure and behavior. Photo traps allow scientists to receive more exact data. About 50 argali permanently live around Zholbaris Shoki mountain. When mountain tops get covered with snow, the animals descend to lower belts and go back up as soon as it gets warm in the summer. Herd social structure also changes depending on the season. In the fall, males and females consolidate in mixed herds and break up into groups in the spring. Females and cubs separately, old males separately, and the youth also separately. And even a couple of Greg's tulips. They grow over there, along the road. For the first time, Greg's tulip was described in 1868 by Eduard Ludwigovich Regel, a well-known Russian taxonomist of Swiss origin. Many scientists assert that this tulip species is the ancestor of all cultivated tulips. In the Middle Ages, merchants brought tulip bulbs to Iran and the Ottoman Empire, from where in early 16th century they were brought to Europe and quickly gained huge popularity among gardeners. It may seem bizarre, but the first ever forward transactions and financial pyramids were associated exactly with tulips. Greg's tulip is listed in the Red Book of Kazakhstan and it has global genetic value. Kaufmann's tulip was also described by Eduard Regel. He named it in honor of Governor General of Turkestan, who assisted botanical expeditions financially and organizationally. Kaufmann's tulip is an endemic of the Karatau and western Tian-Shan. It is also listed in the Red Book of Kazakhstan and represents a valuable genetic resource. Kaufmann's tulip allowed breeding over 200 other species of cultivated tulips.
If
we go to the Botorgai Gorge, we could encounter a couple of female and male argali. You can go there and check it out for yourself. In the gorge, I also saw a badger and a porcupine. Were you not scared at night of bumping into a bear? There are no bears here, and they rarely come here. They generally live in the gorges of Tulkubas branch. The valley is a true paradise for an entomologist. While we were talking, 3 butterflies, small tortoise shells, made themselves comfortable on our backpacks, perhaps willing to take part in the photo shoot too. The outdoor Kaiser team is saying goodbye to Aidana. She and her colleagues have to continue their important work, and our expedition will continue its journey to the top of Zholbaris Shoki. Yevgen Orakbayev will be our guide to the mysterious kingdom of the Black Mountains. As the group rises higher in the mountains, the blossoming spring as if recedes. The cherry plum is shedding its blossom, and the buds on pistachio trees only begin swelling. The still naked tops of mighty nut trees rustle in the wind and catch on clouds. The hawthorn has just put on its new green uniform. The steppe almond boldly presents itself with bright pink and a tremendous scent. In the world, there grow about 800 different iris species. You can find this flower on all continents except Antarctica. But Juno kushakevichi is a special iris species. It grows only in the south of Kazakhstan. The plant was described in 1865 during Nikolai Alexeyevich Sevetsev's expedition to the Karatau. It was named in honor of botanist Kushakevich, a friend and assistant of Sevetsev's. Korolkovia Sevitsovi and Sevetsov's hazel grouse found their place in botanical identifiers in approximately the same time. What is this terrible snake similar to the basilisk in the Harry Potter movie? Its name is glass lizard, a rather improper name for a snake. And it's absolutely not scary, not to mention that it's not a snake at all. It's an ordinary lizard, although without legs. Its menacing look, loud hissing, pretending a snake is the only weapon it has against its enemies. It hasn't learned to bite. This survival strategy works against animals but not against people. In fact, it served the glass lizard a poor service. Uneducated citizens sometimes kill this rare red book lizard, thinking it is a dangerous snake. The glass lizard has understood that it will not manage to frighten us with its hissing and has made the most reasonable decision: flee. And this small snake, although it doesn't look too scary, is in fact quite dangerous. This is Oriental copperhead, the closest relative of rattlesnakes. Do you see how it rattles its tail? This is exactly the habit that gave rattlesnakes their name. The copperhead's bite isn't deadly for humans but can be very unpleasant. The bite's place swells up and burns. The poison can disrupt kidney and vision functions. The victim can be helped by sucking the poison out in the course of the first 5 minutes after the bite. Afterwards, this measure is useless. Bitten by a snake, you should by no means apply a tourniquet on extremity and drink alcohol. It is recommended to inject antihistamine and glucocorticoid drugs. Copperhead will not bite through your boot, yet wandering around wearing slippers in copperhead habitats is a bad idea.
Вот, оказывается, яд щитомордника не стирается с объектива, представляете?
So it turns out that it's really hard to get copperhead's poison off the lens. It's like varnish and dries quickly. I got it off nevertheless, and now I have a napkin impregnated with copperhead poison. Who should be the person to receive this gift? The horse tracks snakes along the river but suddenly comes to an end close to a rock at the peak's bottom. No road going further. Zholbaris Shoki is awaiting us. The riverbank meadow is covered with almond trees. What better place to set up the camp? It will serve our base, where we will leave our stuff and go on radial excursions light. The sun has hardly settled behind the crest, and the cold wind has immediately started blowing from Zholbaris Shoki summit. We need more warm clothes. We need to install the photo traps before it gets dark. Close to the spring, Yesken finds a porcupine hole. Judging by the tracks, somebody lives there, which means that at night the porcupine will come out for a photo session. In Kazakh, porcupine is J-Ra. We will install a photo trap specifically for the guy. All the things are taken care of, and it's time for a good dinner. Filming wild animals, it is not recommended to set up campfire, so we'll use propane instead. In the mountains, it gets dark early, 8 p.m., but the gorge is already sinking in twilight. Tomorrow we have an early start to make it to the feeding site and take a couple of good pictures of our galley. It's cold in the morning, but you warm up quickly going up the slope. The final steps are the most difficult. Here comes the pass. There's the pass at last. Let's take a careful look around. Several female and a young male argali are grazing on the slope. A short photo session will not hurt, but we have to proceed. Zholbaris Shoki is the highest summit of the small Karatau. From here opens the magnificent view over the Talas Alatau and the Joalin Valley. This is it for today. The planned route has been covered and it seems nothing special. No dangerous adventures and no exciting records. But these several days still made our life brighter. Attentively peering into the details of the nature around us, we began to understand our own mission slightly better. Having learned a couple more secrets of our little neighbors on this planet, we appreciate the greatness and power of the continuous stream of life a little more. Human beings are only a small part of this stream, and we will stay alive only until the full stream is flowing. Our mission is to make everything we can not to let it dry out.